So maybe you're leading a business and you're lying awake sometimes thinking, is our tech, is it holding us back? Or perhaps you're just really curious about how companies are, actually using cloud computing today to solve those exact kinds of problems.
Yeah, what's really working?
Exactly. Well, you've definitely come to the right place. Welcome to the deep dive.
Glad to be here.
Today, we're taking a closer look, a real deep dive into AWS cloud solutions. We're doing this using some insights from a company called KarimiConsulting.
Right.
Our source material is this pretty detailed set of slides from Karimi, and they lay out their whole approach for helping businesses use the cloud.
Yeah, and our mission today really is to pull out the key strategies from these slides. What are the benefits? What are some surprising things cloud services can do now? We want you to walk away, understanding not just the what, but the so what. What does it mean for efficiency, for security, for actual growth?
Okay, sounds good. Let's unpack this then.
Let's do it.
So when businesses think about moving to the cloud, the first massive one is always, how do we actually get there? Without everything just grinding to a halt.
Yeah, the fear of disruption is huge.
Totally. And KarimiConsulting really zeroes in on this. They call it cloud migration, the seamless leap. Right. It's all about that move from, your own servers, on-premise stuff over to AWS.
Right.
And the promise they make is seamless migration with minimal downtime and maximum efficiency, which honestly sounds almost too good to be true if you've ever managed a big IT project. How do they pull that off?
What really comes down to meticulous planning and experience, frankly. A lot of companies try this themselves, right?
Yeah, the DIY approach.
Exactly. And that minimal downtime quickly becomes, days or even weeks of serious disruption. Karimi's angle seems to be that their expertise isn't just about copying files over. It's about finding those hidden bits, the connections between systems, the potential roadblocks before they actually cause problems. That's how you ensure business continuity, which, let's face it, is absolutely critical for any business.
Non-negotiable, really. And they highlight having an expert team. AWS certified people handling the whole thing. That feels important.
Oh, it is. It's vital. Because beyond just keeping the lights on during the move, these experts are focused on the financial side right away. Karimi talks about cost efficiency.
Okay.
They right-size your resources from the get-go. Think of it like moving house. You don't just shove everything in boxes.
Right. You hopefully sort things out first.
You sort things out. You get rid of junk you don't need, and you make sure the new place fits what you actually use. That's right-sizing in the cloud. It streamlines things, and often, boom, immediate savings.
That makes sense. Plus, once you're actually on AWS, it's not just like getting a new server room. It's built for growth, isn't it? They emphasize scalable infrastructure.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Using AWS's elasticity. So you're ready for whatever comes next.
Yeah.
No more trying to guess how many servers you'll need next year.
And then overpaying just in case.
Right. You avoid all that over-provisioning pain.
Okay. So you've migrated, you're set up to scale. What about keeping it all safe? That leads us to the next big area, right? Fortifying your digital assets with cloud security.
Absolutely critical. The core idea here is building a really robust enterprise-level digital fortress around everything you have in AWS.
And they list some specifics that seem to really matter, like 24/7 monitoring and multi-layer protection. That constant watchfulness is key. But what does multi-layer actually mean in practice?
Good question. It basically means they're not just relying on one single thing. You've got automated systems watching for anything weird.
Okay.
You've got human experts checking alerts around the clock. And different security tools all working together. It's like, having motion sensors, strong locks, and security guards for your house, not just one.
Gotcha. Layers of defense.
Precisely. And then there's data encryption, which just means your data is scrambled, unreadable unless you have the key, both when it's moving around and when it's just sitting there in storage.
And identity management, that sounds important too. They mention AWS IAM and role-based access control. For someone maybe not deep in the IT weeds, what's AWS IAM, and why is that role-based thing so useful?
Right. So AWS IAM, that's Amazon's identity and access management. Think of it as the master key system for your cloud. It controls exactly who can do what.
Okay.
And role-based access means you give permissions based on someone's job. Like the finance team gets access to billing tools, the developers get access to coding tools. You're not managing permissions for every single person individually.
Much more efficient.
And probably safer. Way safer. It ensures only the right people get the right keys, period. Plus, their threat detection, that's about spotting trouble in real time and having automated ways to respond, often stopping issues before they even cause damage.
And compliance. So many businesses need this. They explicitly say, compliance ready, meeting standards like SOC2, IPRMEA for anyone in healthcare. Finance. That's huge.
Oh, it's massive. It's not just a nice to have. It's often a requirement. It gives you confidence that your setup isn't just generally secure, but specifically meets those tough industry rules.
Okay, so you're in the cloud, you're secure. Now comes the fun part, maybe. Optimizing for peak performance and cost effectiveness. Karimi talks about hitting some really impressive numbers here, like 99.9% uptime, less than 50 millisecond response times.
Yeah, those are pretty ambitious targets. And they achieve this with a few key strategies. First up is auto-scaling.
Right, we mentioned that for growth. How does it boost performance?
Well, it dynamically adds or removes resources based on actual demand. So think of like an online store during a huge sale.
Black Friday chaos.
Exactly. Instead of the site crashing, auto-scaling just spins up more servers instantly to handle the load, then scales back down when things quiet down. Karimi's data suggests this alone could boost performance by like 40%.
Wow. And for data-heavy apps, they mention database tuning, query optimization, indexing, 60% performance boost. That sounds like a game changer.
It really can be. I mean, that 60% could be the difference between users getting frustrated waiting for stuff to load.
And just a smooth, instant experience.
Exactly. And then load balancing, that spreads traffic across servers, so no single one gets overloaded. Another 35% performance gain mentioned there.
What's really cool is how they show this. The slides apparently have this performance graph. It's not just talk. It shows systems starting maybe struggling a bit and then week by week getting smoother, faster, almost doubling efficiency.
Yeah, seeing that visual progression makes it very real, tangible improvement.
And here's where, for me, it gets really interesting.
The money side.
Yes, because performance is great, but often it has to be balanced with cost. Karimi hits cost optimization hard, and their cost graph sounds just as striking, showing monthly spend dropping significantly, like cut by more than half, sometimes over a few months.
Yeah, that definitely grabs attention. It's a serious impact on the bottom line.
How do they actually achieve those kinds of savings? What are the tricks?
Well, it's not really tricks, more like smart strategies. First is real-time cost monitoring, using AWS tools like Cost Explorer to see exactly where the money's going.
So no surprises on the bill.
Hopefully not. And setting up budget alerts so you get pinged if spending starts to creep up unexpectedly. Then there's that right sizing again, making sure you're not paying for a massive server when a smaller one would do just fine. That alone, they reckon, can save up to 35%.
Okay. And then there are these other instance types, reserved instances and spot instances.
Right. So reserved instances, or RIIs, are basically like buying in bulk. You commit to using certain resources for, say, 1 or 3 years.
I get a discount.
A significant discount, potentially up to 50%. Great for predictable workloads. Spot instances are even more interesting. You're essentially bidding on spare AWS capacity.
Like a last-minute flight deal.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect for jobs that aren't urgent, that can be interrupted and restarted. Think large data processing jobs overnight. The savings there can be huge, like up to 70%.
Incredible.
And don't forget auto-scaling again. We talked about performance, but it saves money too, because you only pay for resources when they're actually running. Another 40% potential saving there.
So multiple levers to pull.
Exactly. And the killer stat they mentioned, the ROI. Karimi says, on average, their cost optimization efforts pay for themselves within just 3 months.
Wow, that's fast.
That's a really quick return.
So clearly it's not just about setting things up and walking away. Karimi really emphasizes ongoing management and architectural review. It's continuous.
Precisely. It's not a one-off project. Under infrastructure management, they talk about expert oversight, 204/7 monitoring, aiming for, get this, less than a 2-minute response time to issues.
2 minutes. That's fast.
It is. It ensures stability through constant checks, automated maintenance, quick incident response. It's like having a top-notch operations crew, always watching, but, outsourced. They handle capacity planning, ongoing security checks. The slides even show examples like system status, web servers online, database cluster optimal, just that constant health check.
And then the architectural review, what's that about? Sounds deep.
It is. These aren't just quick checks. They're deep dives into your whole setup. The goal, to boost scalability, maybe by 85%, improve operational efficiency, perhaps 70%, and cut down complexity, they mentioned a 45% reduction.
How does that work?
Well, they look at your current setup, maybe it's a bit old, legacy system. They analyze it against AWS best practices, the well-architected framework. which is kind of the gold standard blueprint.
Uh-huh.
And based on that, they recommend changes to get you to a much more optimized state.
And they give you concrete next steps.
Yeah, detailed reports, action plans, actual roadmaps for implementation. So it's a structured way to keep improving, not just finding problems, but showing how to fix them.
Okay. And finally, they gave a specific example, right? Specialized solutions using WordPress.
Yeah, which is smart because so many businesses run on WordPress.
Absolutely.
So they show how they tailor their services specifically for migrating WordPress sites to AWS and then managing them for top performance.
And the benefits are pretty dramatic. A 200% speed boost, 99.9% uptime, auto-scaling.
Think about that 200% speed boost for a website. What does that do for your Google ranking? For keeping visitors engaged?
Yeah.
For actual sales? It's huge.
Yeah, definitely. Which means practically super fast loading using things like a global CDN, automatic backups, always essential, and that ability to handle sudden traffic spikes easily.
Right, without breaking a sweat. And importantly, it's so cost-effective. It's a pay-as-you-grow model.
So what services do they offer specifically for WordPress here?
It's the whole package. Seamless migration with zero downtime. Then optimizing performance, CDN, caching, database tweaks. Beefing up security specifically for WordPress on AWS, handling updates, and that crucial 24/7 support. It's really an end-to-end managed solution for a platform tons of businesses rely on.
Okay, so wrapping this all together, why does this matter to you, the listener? And what makes Karimi stand out here? They flash some impressive numbers. 99.9% uptime, 60% cost savings, 200% performance, 204/7 support. How do they actually deliver that consistently?
Well, those numbers aren't just pulled out of thin air, right? They stem from their core approach. First, that expert AWS team. They emphasize certified pros with real, deep cloud experience across different projects.
So battle-tested?
Kind of, yeah. Which leads to proven results. They're applying tech they know works and getting measurable results. They also stress end-to-end solutions, covering the whole journey, migration, management, ongoing optimization.
It's not just one piece of the puzzle.
Exactly. And finally, that 24/7 support. Always on, ready to respond quickly. So putting it all together, what it means for you, potentially, is having a single partner for your entire cloud journey, someone to handle the tech complexity so you don't have to.
Right. So what we've really unpacked here is how this kind of comprehensive cloud strategy, from careful migration and strong security to constant tuning for performance and cost, can genuinely transform a business's backbone. It's way more than just renting servers somewhere else. It feels like rethinking how tech actually helps the business, turning IT from maybe a headache or a cost center into something that actually fuels growth.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe here's a final thought to consider. If you embrace this kind of comprehensive cloud approach, it might not just make your current operations run better. It could fundamentally change how agile your business is, how quickly you can innovate.
How so?
Well, it frees up your people, right? Instead of constantly fighting fires with IT infrastructure or getting bogged down and just keeping the lights on.
They can focus on the actual business?
Exactly. Focus on your core mission. Developing new products, improving customer service, exploring new markets. You move from being reactive about tech problems to proactively using tech to shape your future and grab new opportunities. It's a shift from maintenance to innovation.
That's a powerful idea. Moving from complexity to agility.
That's the potential, yeah.
Well, if this deep dive has got you thinking about how some of these cloud services or maybe a managed approach could fit your own goals, we definitely encourage you to explore it more.
Definitely worth looking into.
Thank you so much for joining us on the deep dive.